What's up guys, it's Bok. Hope you're all having a good day. We recently hit rank 1 in RTA, so I thought it would be a great time to do an account showcase where I go through all of my units and just kind of show you how I built them, and I'll maybe explain a little bit of where I picked them and why I've built them that way when we go into it. I think we held rank 1 for all of about 3 hours, but we don't care about that. We hit it, we're happy. So we'll go through it. And I think this is a good one to start with because I use Doki a lot. I think she's a super undervalued unit at the moment. So my build for her is I'm running her on Swift with Strive and Swift Raid. We also have her with a lot of HP and defense, and she's pretty quick for a Doki. Now, the reason I built her on this is because I wanted a Doki that I could take into every matchup. So I can take her into Cleave, I can take her into CC, and I can take her into the Bruiser matchup. It's slightly different for the Bruiser matchup, so I'll go into a little bit of detail about that, but we'll talk about the other two first. So with CC and Cleave, she survives most Messiah S3s. There has been like 1 or 2 that have killed her, but she'll survive most of them. And because she's on Strive, after the initial Messiah S3, she'll push ahead of the other pushers for Messiah, and then I can kind of stabilize from there once I pull my whole team up. And for CC, because most players tend to run a stripper first to get rid of any immunities or things like that, sometimes you'll see a Mio or a Mia. That's a bit of an issue, but outside of those, then Strive is just super valuable again, because if they try and strip, then it will just push my Doki up and I can just S3 stabilize, get the data streams on so I can't be CC'd, and it just makes the game so much more playable there. And in terms of turn 2, so turn 2 is a little bit different. She does survive in turn 2 for a decent amount, like she's surprisingly tanky considering she's not on Bloodbath. We do have Codex and we are running Shadow Guard, so she's always going to be my fastest unit in turn 2. Now, the way I play her in turn 2 is I like to pick her with super aggressive drafts. So either going like Yelli or 4 damage dealers with Doki locked in the center so that I've kind of got all the damage dealers, and I just go all in and try and kill someone straight away. Because the Codex gives you so much tempo, being able to S3, S3, and then S2 to reset some of the skills. Sometimes you'll even go S3, S2, S3. Outside of a Holden being in the game, that is, when he just resets you, so you need to be careful of that one. But this is kind of an all-in build for Doki if you're playing her in turn 2, because you need to just go straight for them and try and kill them. Because if you don't get them down over the course of your 2 S3s and your S2, your cooldowns are just too long and she's just going to be sitting there kind of doing nothing. So it's a lot of fun. If you can get similar stats or near to it, I'd recommend giving her a shot. She's so much fun. And you can pick her kind of everywhere when you have a build like this. So super useful. The Tiamat. Tiamat I like to run slow. So I run mine with 100 crit rate, 250 crit damage, and she's super slow, 203 speed. Not that much in the way of HP. The reason I like to run my Tiamat slow is that I like for her to get hit, potentially bramble someone, and then when it comes back round to her turn, there's the opportunity to S1 into the person that's been brambled, and then sometimes you'll even get the transform off that if it's like a Holden, and then you can just kill them straight away. And it just gives you such an advantage being able to do something like that when you run her slow. It's slightly different if you run her faster, because if you run her faster, then they can just avoid the Tiamat if they're low, so that they don't have the risk of the bramble proc. But that's why I run mine slow. In terms of the shell, we're on Amber, as everybody is. I would like to switch out the Colossal Guard for a Swift Smite, but I don't have another Swift Smite one. The other thing is, that would make my Tiamat faster, which wouldn't really be an issue for me, because then I would just give her more damage. But just a kind of standard Tiamat build in all honesty. We only have final damage. I don't really look for the specific type of damage. If I get final damage or I get this type, I take whichever one I get first. But yeah, outside of that, she's just on Bramble Bloodbath with Colossal Guard. Just kind of a standard build for Tiamat, I think. My Rahu, I really like my Rahu at the moment. So we've tried a lot of different variations for Rahu. We tried a 330 crit damage build with 2,900 defense. I think it was sitting at around 88% crit rate. And that was super fun for the S3. After the S3, horrendous. It was so bad after the S3. He also felt really squishy. Probably because lower defense and he didn't have as much HP. So I would say that Ether Plague is probably better for Rahu, but I've managed to get quite a decent amount of HP while being on Colossal Guard. I think it's mainly due to this piece. I think this piece is probably the best piece I own. No, it's not. It's the one on Tiamat. I just completely lied.
Can't handle my rage.
Yep, I just completely lied. Ignore everything I just said. Ignore it. But, yeah. Oh, that threw me. Anyway, we're running defense with crit damage, and we got lucky on the shell. We've got hollow damage. So, but again, I run my Rahu super slow. I like my Rahu to be slow. I want him to just sit in the back and follow up. I don't need him going all the time. But then again, it's a bit of a lottery, right? If he doesn't follow up, you just lose. But that's the pros and cons of Rahu. Okay, my Lily is probably my worst unit, and one of the units I pick the least. Now, the reason for that is I don't have the right shell for Lily. So at the moment I'm using Swift with Bloodbath. She's only 305 speed, and she's not got great stats in terms of HP or defense. Now, the ideal build for Lily is to have her on Amber with Swift, Strive, Swift, and you want to go for Shadow Guard on your Amber. I've just not been that lucky in terms of the shells, so I don't pick Lily all that often, to be honest. The only time I really pick Lily is when it's like the perfect spot for Lily. So say for example, I can run like a Lily Holden comp, and I'd probably pick Lily as like a last pick. She's not really one of those that I'll go, oh, I picked my Lily because she's insane. No. There is some people with insane Lilies out there though. I'm super jealous. Now, Lingluo. Lingluo's on a bit of a different build. So, I think it was Kaker that came up with this build, to be fair, and it is super good. When I first seen it and I first tried it, wasn't impressed, but the more I've played with it, the better I've thought it was. So we're running Bloodbath and we're forcing Bulwark, and we're running her on Gigabyte. The reason we're running her on Gigabyte and forcing Bulwark is because there's so many Liliths and Mios and all this type of stuff running around, even Sence, and it just gives her that extra protection that she just can't be CC'd off rip. Now, obviously that can change if someone's got like a stripper, like a Plume into then CC, but this just gives you a bit of a blanket of security. The other thing though is I've been moving away from using Insight on a lot of my healers. The reason being is I just feel I pick Lingluo majority of the time in bruiser matchups, and I just feel she's too squishy, especially if you're running F-Res on her. So I've been switching over to defensive stance, because in those long matches that I think this can go up to 5%, so you can get potentially 15% reduced damage taken. And it's not that hard to hit with Lingluo. After she S3s and she S2s, she's already sitting at 10% if you have a maxed one of these. And 10% damage reduction's a lot. So, highly recommend, if you've not tried this build, give it a shot. On the right side, we are running double F-Res with 1 HP. She doesn't have insane stats. Like, most of my gear isn't that insane, to be perfectly honest. Obviously, I have a couple of pieces that are really good, but not on Lingluo. But she's still amazing, even with these stats, so recommend. Holden is a bit of a weird one for me, because Holden is one of these units that I didn't have the Inferno Shell for the longest time. I only got the Inferno Shell for Holden like 2-3 days ago. Before this, we were running Bloodbath and just forcing Strive. We didn't have an Inferno mod. Now, I think Bloodbath with Strive is the strongest Holden build by far, and it's not even close. Now, the reason for that is it just gives him so much cycling, because you want Holden. Holden is a DPS, but he's also utility. Being able to push back, being able to reset cooldowns, being able to strip, you just want him going as much as possible. The other thing is, on my Holden, I've prioritized gaze over damage. The reason I've done that is because landing a defense break gives you more damage than the increased damage here is going to give you anyway. It also helps with stripping later into the game, and I just feel it's more useful than the damage. Obviously there is times when I miss someone by like 2-3% and I wish I had the damage, but those times are few and far between. We're not running anything crazy in terms of stats on Holden. My defense is pretty high, but then my crit rate's only 87% and we've only got 174 crit damage, and he's not even that fast. So that's what we've been running on Holden. Nymphonia. Nymphonia was one of those units that I absolutely loved last season. But this season, she just feels too slow. Even though they gave her a buff, I might need to look at the build on her, because this is similar to the build I was running last season. It's improved slightly, but she just doesn't do enough. There's too many units that just do more, and the spots that I feel you can pick her are just a lot less. So I'm not going to spend much time on my Nymphonia, because I just haven't played her that much this season, to be honest. Even with Kicardi, which is a shame. Now, my Lillum. Lillum's one of those units that I feel is coming into the meta and then going out of the meta and then just comes back. She kind of yo-yos in and out of the meta. Now, I feel like the Tiger Yin build is just far superior to everything else, unless you're going for like a turn 1 Lillum and then you build her on count, right? But in turn 2, I feel like you need to run Bloodbath with Harvest. The Inferno mod is changeable. So I would say for the Inferno mod, you can go for Swift. If you're running Swift though, you want to try and get her about 250 speed. Now, the reason you want to run something like this is if, say for example, you're in a draft and the opponent only picks one DPS in the ways of like a Rahu or a Holden, and they go for like a Holden Lily comp with double healer and they just try and kill you that way, you just want to one-shot the Holden with the Lillum, assuming that you can go before the Holden, that is. So, and you want to make sure that the Tiger Yin procs on the Holden, because then you're just going to one-shot him, and then you don't need to worry about it. Now, obviously that changes if he resets you. In that way, the Void build is slightly better, specifically into Holden, but outside of that, I think the Tiger Yin build is just superior. On her, we're running attack, crit damage, and final damage. On the right side, we've got crit damage, crit rate, and crit damage. Again, not insane pieces, especially this one. It's not the best. But yeah, we're sitting at 370 crit damage, which is pretty good, and 3,500 attack. She's not that fast, but she's one of the units that I would pick with my Doki so that I can just try and nuke someone at the start of the game. Now, Sence. Sence is the unit that I built most recently. I just made a video on Sence as well as the counter to Raymarie. I still think she is the best counter to Raymarie. Obviously, there is other ways to deal with Raymarie in terms of either CCing her or just stacking shields. Like, Veronica's pretty good. Fushu's good. Any other shields are good, but they're just not as good as Sence. And I don't even think it's close. I've played a lot against Raymarie because I've been letting her through like basically every match. But on her, we are running HP bonus with double HP bonus with FAC. Now, I'm running her on Jackal with Swift Bloodbath Bulwark, and the reason I'm running her on Jackal with Swift Bloodbath Bulwark is I value the Bulwark on Sence pretty highly. The reason for that is a lot of the time you'll take her into something like a Holden, and if the Holden S2s are, Sence's value just kind of plummets, especially if you're looking to land that Forgetfulness. Slightly different if you're running a triple HP Sence, which is also a viable option. If you're wanting to run a triple HP Sence for just the shield, I would run her on Gigabyte with Strive and just try and get as much HP as possible. And just cycle the shield as much as possible. But I'm running mine with the FAC and we're running her with Gaze. Now, I think this is probably my best shell. I nearly max rolled everything. So the reason I'm running her with Gaze over Insight, I think there is a debate there of which one's better, because a lot of the time if you don't land in turn 1 you just kind of lose, but I tend to find that the games go on long enough that it doesn't really matter. Sence tends to survive because of the shielding, and you've probably got a healer with her as well, and then at that point Gaze is just much more valuable. But if you've not tried Sence, highly recommend building her. She is pretty lattice heavy. I do have her 5/5/5, but she's just a lot of fun. Now, my Hoan. My Hoan is kind of gathering dust. I don't think I've picked her all that much this season. We are running her on Bulwark with Harvest. I think that is just the best way to run her at the moment, unless you're wanting to go for like a one-shot Hoan comp, which I have seen. It does work. I don't know what they were running on her, but it is kind of cool. You can go for a Hoan with like a Beyontin and a Suki, and you can just one-shot stuff, and then obviously they can't res it. But yeah, I pick her a lot into like Yellis, but because I don't ban Messiah most of the time, there's very few times that I run into Yellis. I think the only players that I still pick Hoan against are the Rev Cleavers, which isn't very often. But yeah, she's not on a super amazing build or anything like that, but it's still enough to one-shot all of the turn 1 players. So yeah, she is, I kind of griefed a bit with my Hoan. So do not copy this. Don't ask why I did it. It was in season 1, or season 0. I was messing about with stuff, and I was going to 5/5/5 her, and then I realized I shouldn't be doing that. And yeah, don't do that, please. Now, my Yelli. Yelli's one of those units I have a love-hate relationship with. I do pick her, I go through phases where I pick her a lot, because I just find her a lot of fun. She's kind of like a turn 1 version of Rahu, where you just pray for follow-ups. But I am running her on Bloodbath, we're running her on Revelation. I don't have a maxed shell. Now, the reason I'm running her on a build like this is because I don't actually think the damage difference is all that much between running her on Bloodbath and running her on a full DPS set. But running her on Bloodbath just gives her so much more survivability, especially since I pick her majority of the time in turn 2 matchups. So where I would tend to pick Yelli is against things like Rahu and Holden. Try and get the defense break on them and just kill them. It takes, for the vast majority of Holdens and Rahus, after her S3, if she gets 2 follow-ups, they're dead. 1 follow-up normally leaves them on about 5% health. We are running her triple crit damage, so she is pretty strong when she lands, but if she doesn't kill someone in the first S3, you normally just lose the match. So, bit of a risk. Now my Freya isn't all that fast. So my Freya, I kind of just run on random speed gear that I kind of had left to just try and get the Bulwark cheese off, so that I can, if I want to, lock the Freya and guarantee that I get to go first. There is some matchups where I'll do that. Not very many, But normally when I do something like that, I just lock the Freya with 2 pushers either side, and then 2 DPS. And I'll just try and cleave the cleaver or cleave the CC player. Normally with like a Barn or something like that. But yeah, I don't think my Freya is much to talk about. 330 speed, like I say, and she is on bulwark, so that's fast enough to outspeed the vast majority of players. Maybe not AMPX, but who knows. My Barn. So my Barn I really like. He isn't the best Barn in the world, I've seen better, but I think Barn is one of those super useful units if you have him built, because not very many people have him built, so a lot of people don't. Obviously it gets a bit different when you're playing against the same people over and over and they know you have Barn built, but not many have him built, so just being able to pick him, there's not very many people that can test him, so I can wait till like the end of the draft to pick him. And in the spots where he's good, he's insane. Like against Kicardi, against Lillum, all those types of units. He's just so good. Can just one-shot them in some cases. So we're running him pretty fast, 273 speed and 5,600 attack. We're running him on Harvest with Bloodbath and Swift. Now I've tried some of the other builds. I've tried him on Dark Moon. I was running him on Dark Moon all of last season, and this one just feels so much better running him on Tiger Yin. It just does so much more damage, especially to that unit that gets hit with the Tiger Yin proc, that it's just not even comparable with the Dark Moon. I feel like if you're running Born and you're not running him specifically into CC, Tiger Yin's just better. Now my Fushu is a little bit different as well. So kind of standard build. The thing that's mainly different with her is the passives I have on the shell. So we're running, I think this one is HP, and FRES. We've got quite a lot of HP and FRES, even though we're only running one FRES piece. We've got a lot of FRES in the subs here. So I was actively looking for FRES pieces to put on. So everything that I could get FRES on, I put on. So we're only running one FRES, and on the shell, we're running HP with healing done, and then we're running synergy. And why I like synergy on Fushu over things like insight is, assuming I get my S3 off, most of the time I do. There is the odd time that it gets reset, but not that often, and she still resists most stuff. Like, most of the time her bulwark isn't stripped. And then at that point, synergy just offers so much more value. Because outside of that insight for that turn 1, just to get the S3 off, you're not really doing anything with Fushu. Whereas every time her healing procs, you're getting increased damage, which stacks up a lot over the course of the game. Especially if you're in those longer matches. Once you get to, so I think maxed insight is like, is it 7.5% at max stacks? If you're getting multiple turns with that increased damage, it's a lot. So I see the value in running insight, but I just prefer to run mine on synergy. Just something a bit different. Now my Plume. My Plume, we're running double HP with 1 FAC. I like her to be slightly more beefy. The reason for that is I like to take her into things like Messiah, as you might have seen. And just having that extra HP helps her to survive. She's sitting on 309 speed at the moment, which for Plume isn't actually all that fast, I don't think. And on the shell, we're running defense bonus with speed and gaze. Since I'm not running defense on the right side, since I hit defense here, I just didn't roll off it. Because I was like, I might as well just leave it. I don't want to waste the mods. So, yeah. My Kicardi. This is my favorite unit in the game. And it's not even close. I just think he's great where you can pick him. And I like units where they're not necessarily first or second pick. I like units where you can pick them 4 or 5 in the draft, and the enemy's kind of either forced to ban them or they just lose. and Kicardi feels like one of those units. So I'm running my Kicardi on attack bonus with double crit damage. This is a pretty good piece. But yeah, and I prefer mine on count over Tiger Yin. The reason for that is you can get a lot of damage on the initial S3 with the Tiger Yin, but the count buff will stay for the next turn where you get the S1 into S2 proc, and I just feel that offers more value than the Tiger Yin proc. You will be dropping a bit of stats because obviously you're not getting, you're having to force on count, whereas you're not having to force Bloodbath on Tiger Yin, but I still feel like it's worth it. This is the build we did on day 2 or it was late on day 1 when Kicardi came out, and we've never moved off it since. It has been so much fun to use. Best unit in the game. Changed my mind. Now Raymarie. Oh, Raymarie. Yeah, I'm running mine on 100 crit rate with 280 crit damage. We're running Bramble, Bloodbath, and Swift. On the right hand side we have HP bonus with crit damage and crit rate. Yep, crit rate, crit damage. The shell is HP with crit damage and final damage. And yeah, I don't think there's much to say about Raymarie. Everybody knows how strong she is. So this is the build we're running. Don't pick her all that often, to be honest. Most of the time I'll actually, if I'm first pick, I'll normally just take Fushu, to be perfectly honest with you. I find Fushu's more valuable to me in the way that I play than Raymarie is. So my Aya. Aya at the moment is on Reaper Steps. I'm running her on Swift with Bloodbath and Swift Smite. I would like to have her on Strive with Bloodbath and Swift Smite, but I don't have the shell. So we're just kind of running this. At the moment, she is on F-Res, double F-Res with 1 HP piece. And the shell is actually running Insight. I rolled the Insight and then I just decided to keep it. I was considering moving her to Dauntless for more damage reduction, because since I'm running double F-Res, I don't feel like I need another F-Res, but I'll maybe do that when I have more reconfig chips. At the moment I still have other shells I need to roll. So that's my Aya. Next we have the Chiaki. So Chiaki is one of those units that I pick quite a lot actually. I think she's super underutilized, and I pick her all the time into Messiah Cleave, into Rev Cleave, into anything that just does a lot of damage. She's even pretty decent into Raymarie in turn 2. So mine's is pretty fast. She's sitting on 275 speed and she's on Lighthouse. So plus Strive, which means she's going to get the 35% turn boost from the Strive and the Lighthouse. Is it 35%? Yeah, it's 35%. I doubted myself for a second there. I thought Lighthouse maybe only gave 10%. So I still need to finish rolling this shell. I don't know why I have Shadow Guard here. Don't ask. She's never my fastest unit in these drafts, but so this is just kind of a wasted mod at the moment, but she's still surviving. And yeah, I just think being able to push ahead after the initial burst from either like a Raymarie, Messiah, Yelli, any of those big AoE nuke type of characters, and then heal plus get the origami up is super useful. 35% reduced damage is a lot. It is a lot. And a lot of the time, especially if you're in my stream, you'll see me. I let the Messiah through. We let them take the Suki and the Beyontin, and they don't really come close to killing. Pick Chiaki more. So the only downside to Chiaki is if they pick CC. CC is kind of her weakness, especially on this build. So my Sanya I've been picking less and less as the season has been going on. At the moment we're running her on triple HP with Jackal, Swift, Evil Guard. She's not that fast, she's sitting at 269 speed 51k HP. Yeah, I just don't think Sonia's the best healer at the moment. I think she's okay. There's certain bruiser drafts where she's fine, and she's average kind of into cleave. I'm saying that just because she survives, and then if you want, you can go for an S1 proc at the start, which will proc the Jackal. You then get a 60% turn boost, which gets you back round to S3 most of the time. So this is what we're running. Again, I think there's better healers than Sonia. I think she's kind of lower down on the priority now, but this is the build. And again, no insight, Dauntless, because we want to reduce the damage she's taking. So Mizuki. I've actually been finding myself picking Mizuki more and more as the season's been going on. So the build we're running, we have 85% crit, 2,800 defense, so pretty low on the defense. She also has pretty low HP, but 293 crit damage. She hits like a truck when she crits. Now, where I pick her, I take her into Tiamat, I take her into Born. Sometimes I take her into both, they pick both. And yeah, she is just, I don't know, I think she's one of those super undervalued units. We're running her Unbreakable with Bloodbath and Colossal Guard. We just wanted to get as much defense as possible while being able to stack up our crit damage and hitting the 85 threshold. The reason we're at the 85 threshold is because that's enough to get 100% crit into blue units, which is all I'll ever take her into, most of the time. Occasionally I'll take her into a Ray Marie and AI defense, but that's kind of it. I'll never really take her into a Ray Marie and RTA. But I run her super slow. Now the reason I run her super slow is because I want her to stay in a retaliation state for longer. I want her to stay in that state for as long as possible. That's also the reason I don't have her on Strive, because Strive takes her out of retaliation quickly. Whereas I want her to stay there and keep countering and putting that wound up. So yeah, Shell, nothing special. Really bad actually. I need to roll this Shell. But yeah, we have a yellow defense with purple crit rate and purple hollow.
You want my opinion?
Sylph.
I can't
So,
really offer anything useful. You guys
Sylph
decide. I'll just
has
follow along.
kinda became one of those units that I just love taking into CC. I'll just lock her. And the reason for that, if say for example your first pick and you take like Ray Marie, and then the CC player takes, I don't know, Mio and someone, anybody else, Heinrich, then you just kind of lock Sylph. Now the reason for that, they're going to ban the Ray Marie. I'm running mine on Alicorn with Bloodbath and Swift Smite. We also have Insight here. Now I really want Insight on her because it's more important for her to try and resist some of these debuffs. Because basically you just want her to get a turn. Hopefully she's only got 3 debuffs or less, and then the Alicorn can dispel them. And then you just simply use S2 and you remove all debuffs from your Tiamat or whatever. And then you should just be fine from there. Because say for example your Tiamat's been hit and like frozen, wounded, all this stuff. You can just get the Tiamat unfrozen, remove all the debuffs, and normally full heal the Tiamat in the process, sometimes just transforming her, or if not, close to. And then when the Tiamat gets a shot, you can just S1 and probably kill something, maybe even transform. She is super useful into CC, and I kind of feel bad for the CC players that she got released, so yeah. And then the last unit that I have been using in RTA recently is Nahor. Now, my Nahor is 111, and he's not even level 50. And he doesn't have the best effect accuracy, but he still works. He is just really strong. He's a very strong unit. Basically, he's one of these characters that I'll just occasionally pick on 5 in my 5th pick as a last pick, just when they don't have any good cleansing or it's against double bruiser like a Rahu and Holden or something like that. Because then the defense break adds so much value. The freeze, again, ridiculous value. And sometimes he can just win you a game. Now, I'm not running him on Bloodbath. I'm not running him on anything that impressive, to be honest. He's not even on a proper shell. I'm just kind of forcing speed. He's got gaze as well, which doesn't actually do all that much because he'd be better on insight. But yeah, so I think that's the last unit. We were playing about with an Amber Messiah.
Second,
but
violence with violence.
I'm hoping that with the shell thing that's coming out soon, we'll finally be able to get a count for Messiah and we can start doing some cleave with Messiah. The proper count for Messiah has avoided me this whole time, and I do not want to go back to Rengokutsu. So this shell thing is a godsend so that I can actually use my Messiah the way he's supposed to be used and not with Amber Messiah. My Heinrich I occasionally pick. At the moment I don't have a shell on him because I was trying some other stuff, but occasionally we'll mess about with Messiah. And my Veronica is 1-1-1. Again, occasionally I move my Nymphonia gear over to Veronica and I'll play her for a little bit. She is usable at 1-1-1, just not very well. You can kind of only pick her at 1-1-1 when you're not against a Holden. And I mean, even then, it's still not great. But it's okay. So I think that's all of the main units that I use. I hope this was helpful. I feel like I might have waffled a little bit, so sorry about that. But anyway, I will be live on stream for the new units. We'll be pulling them and then we'll be testing them. So hopefully some of you guys stop by for that. If not, thanks, and I will see you in a bit.